Carlos Roque Monzon, nicknamed Escopeta, shotgun in Spanish, was an Argentine professional boxer who held the undisputed world middleweight championship for 7 years. He successfully defended his title 14 times against 11 different fighters, and is widely regarded as not only one of the best middleweights in history but also one of the greatest boxers of all time pound for pound. Known for his speed, punching power, and relentless work rate, Monzon ended his career with a record of 87-3-9-1 with 59 knockouts. Each one of his losses were early in his career, and were avenged. Inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 1990, he was chosen by the Ring magazine in 2002 as the 11th greatest fighter of the last 80 years, and voted him as the best middleweight title holder of the last 50 years in 2011. As of January 2018, Monzon holds the second longest unified championship reign in middleweight history at 9 consecutive defenses. Monzon spent 5.5 years in prison for killing his wife Alicia by throwing her off a balcony, and admitted that he had hit every single woman that he had dated. Argentinians adored Monzon throughout his career. His glamorous and violent life was avidly followed both by the media and Argentine people. He was, however, accused many times of domestic violence by his 2 wives, and many mistresses, and of beating paparazzi. Charged with killing his second wife Alicia Muñiz in 1988, the former champion was sentenced to 11 years in jail. He died in a January 1995 car crash while on his way back to jail after receiving a weekend furlough. Monzon was born in the city of San Javier, Argentina, to a family of Macovi descent. His parents were Roque Monzón and Amalia Ledesma. Monzon was raised in poverty with his 12 siblings. When Monzon was 6 years old, his family moved to Barranquitas Oeste, a poor neighborhood of Santa Fe, the capital of Santa Fe province. To help out his family, he quit school in the 3rd grade, working different jobs, such as shoe shiner, paperboy, and milkman. As a youngster, he showed an interest in boxing. When he was 16, he met Zulema Encarnacion Torres, with whom he had his first son, Carlos Alberto Monzon. Later, on May 11, 1962, he married Mercedes Beatriz Garcia, nicknamed Pelusa. They were so poor that they did not have enough money to buy the marriage license. They had 3 kids, Sylvia Beatriz, Abel Ricardo, and Carlos Raul, who was adopted. Monzon had his first amateur fight on October 2, 1959. This first fight ended in a draw. 3 years later, after a 73-6-8 amateur record, he became a professional. His first professional bout was held on February 6, 1963. He knocked out his opponent in the 2nd round. In 1966, he won the Argentine middleweight title. In 1967, he won the South American middleweight title. After this success, Argentine boxing promoter Juan Carlos Lector pushed him into the international boxing scene by organizing fights with foreign boxers such as Douglas Huntley, Charles Austin, Johnny Brooks, Harold Richardson, Tommy Bethea, Benny Briscoe, a 10-round tie, Manuel Severino, and Eddie Pace. World middleweight champion Nino Benvenuti had long had a distinguished career that included championships in 2 divisions, and 2 wins in 3 bouts versus all-time great Emil Griffith. He had lost the year before to American Tom Bethea in Australia, but in an actual title fight in Yugoslavia, he avenged that loss. Nobody expected Monzon to beat Benvenuti in their title match, very few knew of him. Yet Monzon applied pressure from the start, and in the 12th, a right hand landed perfectly on Benvenuti's chin, and the title changed hands. Monzon also beat Benvenuti in a rematch, this time in only 3 rounds in Monte Carlo when Benvenuti's seconds threw in the towel. In 1971, Monzon became only the 2nd man to stop former 3-time world champion Emil Griffith in 14 rounds, and later outpointed him over 15 in a close fight. Before the fight Monzon had to spar 3 rounds, and run 3 miles in order to make the weight. Monzon then scored a win over tough Philadelphian Benny Briscoe in their rematch, overcoming a shaky 9th round, in which Briscoe almost scored a knockout in 5 rounds over European champion Tom Boggs, a knockout in 7 rounds over Cuban-Mexican Jose Montequia-Napoles in Paris, France, and a 10-round knockout of tough Tony Licata of New Orleans at the Madison Square Garden, in what would turn out to be Monzon's only fight in the United States. Monzon's middleweight championship title was lifted in 1975 by the WBC for not defending it against mandatory challenger Rodrigo Valdez. Valdez, a Colombian, won the WBC's title, while Monzon kept the WBA's championship. In 1976, they finally met, this time, world champion versus world champion. Valdez's brother had been shot to death 1 week prior to the fight, and he did not feel like fighting. Still, the fight went on, as they were both under contract. It took place in Monte Carlo. Monzon handed Valdez a beating, winning a 15-round unanimous decision, and unifying the world title once again. Facing a lack of good challengers, Monzon was offered a high purse to again fight the Colombian. The second fight was different. Monzon Valdez 2 is a classic. Valdez came out roaring this time. In the second round, right cross to the chin put Monzon down for the first, and only time in his career. Valdez built a lead through the first part of the fight. Monzon, however, mounted a brilliant comeback, and outboxed Valdez for the last 8 rounds, winning a unanimous decision to retain the title, and score his 14th title defense. Monzon retired after the second Valdez fight defense. His record stood at 87 wins, only 3 losses, 9 draws, and 1 no contest. Of his wins, 59 came by knockout. All 3 of his losses were on points, early in his career, and were all avenged. In 2003, he was named by the Ring magazine as one of the 100 greatest punchers of all time. On the independent computer-based ranking of BoxRec.com, he is listed as the second best middleweight boxer of all time. Always known for his overhand right, following Monzon's victory over Montechianopolis, Angelo Dundee said, "Monzon is the complete fighter. He can box, he can hit, he can think, and he is game all the way." Before retirement, in 1974, he starred in La Mary, a hit movie directed by Daniel Tynier. After retirement, he participated as an actor in a couple of Argentine movies, which were not very successful, and TV shows. A monument to him stands in Santa Fe, Argentina. Monzon was tremendously popular throughout his career. During Monzon's fights, Argentina would stand still, cities had no traffic, and all TV sets and radios were tuned to the fight. While filming La Mary, he met famous Argentine actress and model Susana Jimenez. They started a tumultuous relationship, which led to Monzon's divorce. Since then, his glamorous, and sometimes violent life was avidly followed by the media. He toured Latin America and Europe with Argentine models and actresses. While still a champion, a darker side of Monzon began to emerge. In 1973, Monzon was shot in the leg by his then-wife of 11 years, Mercedes Beatriz Garcia, with whom he had a daughter, and 2 sons, one of whom was adopted. The shooting required 7 hours of surgery to remove the bullet from Monzon's leg. In 1975, he began a very publicized romance with Susana Jimenez. They had previously met in the 1974 thriller La Mary, directed by Daniel Tynier, where the two played husband and wife. Monzon hated paparazzi who detailed his affairs. He went to Italy with Jimenez to participate in a movie, and started increasingly traveling with her to locations in Brazil and the rest of Latin America, allowing himself be seen with her, although still legally married. He was accused of domestic violence and of beating paparazzi. Monzon was repeatedly detained by the police. Jimenez began wearing sunglasses more often, presumably to hide her bruises, and many times, paparazzi had to be hospitalized from the beatings suffered at the hands of Monzon, who had unpredictable violent outbreaks. During this period, Monzon and Mercedes Beatriz Garcia finally divorced. Susana Jimenez left him in 1978. After the breakup, Monzon's private life was fairly low-key for a number of years. In 1979, he met Uruguayan model Alicia Muñiz, with whom he had an on and off relationship for many years. They eventually married, and had a son together, Maximiliano Roque. But his violent behavior continued. On February 14, 1988, while vacationing in the resort city of Mar del Plata, after a heated argument, he beat Muñiz. According to the investigation after this incident, he strangled her into unconsciousness, picked her up, and pushed her off the second-floor balcony, killing her, during which he followed her in the fall, injuring his shoulder. On July 3, 1989, Monzon was found guilty of homicide. He received an 11-year prison sentence. In January 1995, Monzon was given a weekend furlough while serving his term in Cárcel de las Flores, Santa Fe province, to visit his family and children. On January 8, 1995, when on his way to returning to jail after the weekend, he and a passenger, Jeronimo Domingo Madera, were killed instantly when their vehicle rolled over near Santa Rosa de Calcines. The other passenger, Monzon's sister-in-law Alicia Guadalupe Fecha, was injured. Even in death, Monzon drew a crowd. Thousands sang Dale Campeón, Go Champ, during his funeral. Monzon has a professional record of 100 fights, with 87 wins, 3 losses, 9 draws, and 1 no contest.